Hi everyone and welcome to blah, 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 blah.
Hey friends.
Just for kicks. Hi everyone and welcome to a special keep your legs down.
Blooper reel.
Hi everyone and welcome to a special masterclass on Mindvalley Academy with the one and only Emily Fletcher. Emily Fletcher is one of my favorite meditation instructors in the world. And in this class, you're going to learn some incredible new ideas on how to take your meditation practice to the next level. Or if you've never had luck with meditation, you're going to learn how to finally overcome those barriers so that you can create a healthy meditation practice. Now, in this class, Emily Fletcher is going to be guiding you through not just some powerful insights and ideas, but you'll soon see why she is such an in-demand meditation instructor. It's the way she teaches. It's a lot of fun, and this woman just flows. And at the end of this class, you're going to go through a 15-minute guided experience that is unlike any guided meditation experience you've ever experienced. So stay tuned for that. But before we begin, let me tell you about Emily. And Emily's qualifications are so long, I need not just an iPad, but a giant iPad Pro to read this stuff. So many of you may recognize the name Emily Fletcher because I wrote about her in my book. And in my book, I quoted Elon Musk, I quoted Peter Diamandis, I quoted all of these amazing world leaders, and I quoted Emily Fletcher multiple times because her ideas are that powerful. Now, Emily is the founder and head instructor at the famous Ziva Meditation School in New York. And her style of meditation has been so in demand. She's been asked to teach at Harvard University, at Google. She's trained Broadway performers, Harvard Business School students. She has taught 4,200 people how to master meditation. And these include NBA players, Oscar, Tony, and Grammy Award winners, Dr. Mark Hyman, who has written 10 best-selling books, NBA players. And why they love Emily is because she takes the woo-woo out of meditation. Her style is all about meditation applied to the modern world. And this is why I'm such a fan of this style. In fact, I've completely shifted from what Emily calls monastic styles of meditation to the type of styles of meditation that Emily espouses. So Emily, you've got an incredible story. Before we begin, I would love for you to share with us how you got into meditation.
Sure, so it's a bit of an unlikely journey from Broadway showgirl to meditation teacher. And I was actually on Broadway for 10 years before I found this practice. And my last Broadway show was a chorus line. And I was understudying 3 of the lead roles, which basically means you show up to the theater and you have no idea who you're going on for. Sometimes I would start the show as one character and then halfway through they would switch me to a different character, or I'd just be chilling in my dressing room doing my taxes and someone would say, "Emily Fletcher, we need you on stage." And I would start panicking because I wouldn't know which character I was playing. So I would just grab 3 costumes, run down 7 flights of stairs, someone would throw me in an outfit, and I'm not kidding, sometimes I would be on stage before I knew which character I was going to play. So I was basically living my life in this constant state of anxiety. And even though I was living my dream, even though I was doing the thing that I had wanted to do since I was 6, I was miserable. I started going gray at the tender age of 27. I started having insomnia for 18 months.
Wow.
I couldn't sleep through the night. I started getting sick and injured, and it was very confusing to me why I was living my dream and miserable. I mean, there was a moment where I was like listening to Eckhart Tolle, rocking myself in fetal position underneath my dressing room table. And so thankfully, this amazing woman was sitting next to me in the dressing room. She was understudying 5 of the lead roles, which is incredibly challenging, but this woman was nailing it. I mean, every bite of food she ate was a celebration. Every dance she danced was a celebration. Every song she sang was a celebration. And I was like, I need to have some of what she's having. And I said, "Lady, what do you know that I don't know?" And she said, "I meditate." And I was like, come on, because this was 10 years ago, right? Because no one was talking about it, and no one had outed themselves. There wasn't as much neuroscience back then. And so I didn't really believe her, so I just kept going gray and having insomnia and sucking at my job. And then finally it got so bad, I was so embarrassed about my performance that I thought, well, I have to try something. So I went along to this 4-day course. I liked what I heard. It made sense to me, it rang true to me, so I signed up for this course, and you guys, on the first day of the first course, I was meditating. To be honest, I had no idea what that meant, but I was in a different state of consciousness that I had ever been in before, and I liked it. And then that night, I slept through the night for the first time in 18 months, and I have every night since, and that was about 10 years ago. Then I stopped getting sick. Then I stopped getting injured. Then I stopped going gray. I started enjoying my job again. And I thought, why does everybody not do this? So I left Broadway, I went to India, I started what became a 3-year training process to teach this, and then I opened up Ziva, and as you said, I've taught over 4,200 people to meditate, and it is the biggest blessing of my life.
Amazing, amazing. And what I want to do right now, Emily, is I actually want to share some of the stories, some of the comments that these 4,200 people, not all of them, of course, just a handful, have said about you. So check these out. This is what people are saying about Emily Fletcher's meditation training. Now, Dave Asprey, many of you guys have heard of this man. He's on Fortune magazine, on Forbes. He founded Bulletproof Coffee. Dave actually started a scientific meditation institute called 40 Years of Zen. Yet on Emily, he said, Emily's work, good stuff. She's up there with the A players. And Dave had recently just invited Emily to speak at his annual biohacking conference. Laura Benanti, who's a Tony Award winner, said this. And this is quite typical. I used to have terrible stage fright. Since learning Emily's meditation, everything has shifted. I rarely have performance anxiety anymore, even during the Sound of Music live, performing live for millions of people. So it's quite common that as you start this form of meditation, fears that you've had for a very long time begin to disappear for people who are used to having a busy mind. Now, Jenna Dewan Tatum, who's an actress in Supergirl and The Witches of East End, said, "This is so addictive. It is now part of my daily ritual, and people have noticed the change. They say, you look so radiant." This is also true of meditation. You'll notice a lot of people who meditate simply look radiant. They look younger. Check out what Barrett Foa, who's star of NCIS LA and Broadway, said. He's also an Emily student, and he says with her expert guidance, meditation is now a non-negotiable activity like taking a shower and brushing my teeth. Odds are it might happen for you as well. It becomes that non-negotiable activity. So Emily, before we start, I just want to address the audience. This class and what you're about to learn here, I swear, is probably one of the most important skills you will ever learn in your life. Just like Emily, my life shifted because of meditation. If you've read my book, The Code of the Extraordinary Mind, you know that those dramatic shifts happened because I took a meditation class. So very bluntly, I simply want to say, if you're not meditating right now, you have no idea what you're missing and how you could be shrinking your human potential. If you are meditating, it is your responsibility to keep honing the craft and getting better and better at it, because meditation isn't just one level. There are multiple levels through which you can ascend and unleash all of these latent human abilities that are in you. So pay attention. Emily's an incredible teacher. She's going to keep you riveted. And let's get started with this class.
It makes me so excited. I want to take the course now.
So Emily, let's get on with the class. Now, my first question to you is something that everyone from Mindvalley Academy I know has dealt with. So we've all read about the powers of meditation. Up to 2015, that was when I last Googled this, but there were 1,400 scientific studies on how meditation improves every aspect of your life. And I mean every aspect, from your productivity to your sex life, to your confidence levels, to your heart health, to your skin. It's ridiculous. Yet most people don't meditate. And the biggest reason you don't meditate, and we know this because all of us face this sometimes, even I have skipped meditation in the morning, is because we get busy. Emily, how do we solve this dilemma?
Well, my new favorite thing to share to people who say that they're too busy to meditate is, if Oprah has time to meditate, you have time to meditate, right? Like the world's high performers are meditating. The best hedge fund managers, the CEOs, the athletes, the celebrities, they're not meditating because they have copious amounts of extra time. They're doing it because they know it's going to help them be better at life, that they know it's going to help them perform at the top of their game. But here's why I think people are actually saying they're too busy. People are trying to do a style of meditation that wasn't designed for them. Most people like you and I, people with busy minds and busy lives, there's a style of meditation that was actually made for us, and yet most of us are trying to do styles that were made for monks. So the beautiful thing about what I teach is that it has nothing to do with clearing your mind. I feel like there's one dude running around telling everyone that in order to meditate, you have to clear your mind. And I wish that I could find this guy and teach him how to meditate because it would make my job so much easier. And I think it would make everyone's meditation journey so much more enjoyable, right? I want to say that we don't meditate to get good at meditation. We meditate to get good at life.
I love that quote. That is one of my favorite quotes from this woman. Go on.
Right, because nobody really cares if you're a good meditator, right? No one cares how many or few thoughts you're having when you're sitting quietly in a chair. Everyone cares how good you are at life. How compassionate are you? How kind are you? How creative are you? How innovative are you? And these are all scientifically proven benefits of meditation. So to go back to this difference between what I would call a monastic practice versus meditation for the busy person, right? And now there's thousands of different styles of meditation, but most of them fall under one of these two categories. The monastic style is a bit more where you're directing your focus. It's a bit more like if you're coming back to the breath or focusing on a candle or even a guided visualization, I would put in the category of mindfulness. Versus what I teach is a bit more of a letting go. It's about giving your body very, very deep rest so that you can be more awake in your waking state, more conscious in your waking state, which is really what improves performance. So what's interesting is I got invited to a neuroscience conference a few months ago, and it was so exciting to get to see actual brain scans, to see scans of the brain. And we can tell now not only that meditation is good for you, but actually how different styles of meditation impact the brain differently. And what was fascinating is that in mindfulness, which is more of a directed focus style of meditation, a smaller part of the brain lights up, but very, very bright. Versus in what I teach, the whole brain lights up, but not as bright, which I think is sort of cool because it's basically a physical representation of how these styles are different. Now, the interesting thing to note here is that when you light up all of your brain when you're meditating, something strengthens called the corpus callosum. Now, the corpus callosum is the thin white strip that actually connects the right and left hemispheres of the brain. And this is a valuable little piece of neuroscience because this corpus callosum is literally the bridge between your critical mind and your creative mind. It is the bridge between that piece of you that likes to review the past and rehearse the future and that thing that is present in the right here, right now. And so we've known for a long time that meditators have thicker corpus callosums than non-meditators, but we weren't able to prove if it was causal or correlated. But now we know that the longer you meditate, the thicker this corpus callosum becomes, which means that next time you're in the middle of a high demand situation, you're going to have better access to that creative problem solving, to that present moment awareness. Now, meditation obviously is not going to take your demands away, but having this strengthened connection between critical mind and creative mind is the thing that allows you to come up with a solution when your boss is coming to you and is like, hey, we need something now. Or even better example is, you know how if you get into a fight with your partner and it starts to get a little heated and you start to get pretty amped and then eventually you either like shut down or start crying or like retreat to the bedroom, and then about 2 hours later, once you calm down, you start coming up with all these hilarious witty comebacks and you're like, why couldn't I have thought of that in the moment? Well, my hypothesis is that the thicker your corpus callosum becomes as a result of meditation, the easier it is for you to come up with all those witty comebacks when it's go time, when it matters.
I love what you just said because so many people, and those of you who meditate know this. When you meditate, you talk about how you seem to have more creativity, how you seem to have more intuition. And what you're doing is really showing that science, in terms of the corpus callosum, is showing that there is a reason for this. You're accessing more areas of your brain. Mm-hmm. Now, a quick question, Emily. What is the difference between mindfulness and meditation?
So thank you for clarifying, because it's basically, there's thousands of different styles of meditation, but most of them can fall under one of two categories. And one I would say is mindfulness, where we're directing our focus. And then the other I would call meditation, where we're actually accessing different states of consciousness, where the right and left hemispheres of the brain start to function in unison. And in the style that I teach, you're actually giving your body rest that's even deeper than sleep. And this is not an insignificant point, because when you give your body the rest that it needs, it knows how to heal itself. And one of the things that it's healing itself from is stress. And as we all know, the less stress we have in our body, the better able we are to perform at the top of our game. Actually, I'm not sure that everyone does know that, because oftentimes my students will say, because I teach a lot of CEOs, I teach a lot of actors, and my artist clients will say to me, Emily, I need my hurdy poos. This is where I create from. And pardon my French, but I think that's total BS. I do not think that stress is the source of our creativity. Now, my CEO clients will say to me, Emily, I need my stress. This is the thing that gives me my competitive edge. This is the thing that keeps me in the game. But you guys, stress is not doing any of us any favors in the performance department. Stress actually makes you stupid. Why? Because when you're stressed, your brain and body are preparing for an imaginary tiger attack. Your body goes into this involuntary fight or flight stress reaction, and so you don't have your full cognitive power for the task at hand. And so regardless of which style you're using, mindfulness or meditation, they're both going to get rid of stress in your body and help you perform at the top of your game, just in different ways.
And your style is primarily meditation.
I do tend to focus more on meditation at Ziva, but I'm actually playing with both of them in the course that we've created together.
Awesome.
So it's a nice sampler platter.
So another question, which I bet people are wondering, is you mentioned something earlier that was key. You mentioned that meditation is not about clearing your mind, that there are monastic practices and then practices for the modern world. What makes you have such raving fans is that you've clearly said, look, the monastic practices are fine, but if you're too busy, you want to focus on the modern practices, and I love your modern practices. Could you go deeper into that and clarify the difference?
Sure. So the way I like to think about this is, and P.S., what most people are practicing is some variation of mindfulness. And this is why I think people feel like we have to focus, we have to really come back. If you're using the breath as the mind vehicle, you feel like there's a very short leash. You have to come back, come back, come back. And if you start having other thoughts, we see them as distractions. And it's not that that style is bad, and it definitely serves a purpose, but there is this other style of meditation that's much more effortless, it's much more innocent, and you're giving your body much deeper rest. And to me, it's, if you look forward to something, if it's designed for you, and you start to see the return on investment right away, then meditation becomes something that's not a discipline, but something that actually is like dark chocolate, right? Where you like can't wait to eat it, and then it feels good, and then you perform better afterwards, and then meditation becomes this beautiful self-fulfilling prophecy instead of something you have to be disciplined because you're doing something that wasn't actually designed for you.
You're right. So I want to clarify this because this is such a big, big, big barrier that so many of my friends, I was speaking about meditation to a group of entrepreneurs, and they're like, but we can't meditate, we can't clear our minds, we're entrepreneurs, we have ADD. And I explained to them that they were buying into the wrong vision of meditation. And I quoted you and I spoke about your definition. Forget the monastic practices. You don't have to focus on your breath to clear your mind. That they are meditation practices which are focused on transcendent practices, which is what you teach, where your mind is actually active in the right way, that's causing you to have relaxation, rest, and to make you better at life.
Exactly.
So remember that there is a difference. You may be giving up on meditation because your idea of meditation is obsolete. So Emily, you speak a lot about how the point of meditation is to get better at life. Explain to us what that means. Now, you've trained thousands of people. What are some of the definitions of better at life that your students have attained?
Yeah, thank you for asking that. So I feel like there are three very common attributes of people who start a regular practice, three ways that we can start to tell whether or not we're getting better at life, or three attributes of higher states of consciousness. And they are the ability to hold many things in one awareness, the ability to detect subtlety, and the ability to detect themes. So holding many things in one awareness, I would say that this is valuable no matter what your job is. If you're a stay-at-home mom, you better be able to hold many things in one awareness. If you're running your own company, you better be able to hold many things in one awareness. If you're even walking down the sidewalk in New York City, you better be able to hold many things in one awareness. And so I'm not talking about multitasking, right? This is an important distinction. I'm talking about a simultaneity of consciousness. I'm talking about being able to get rid of stress in your body, which has the effect of pulling your lens of your awareness back so you can start to hold many things effortlessly and elegantly in your mind at the same time. And the way that meditation helps with this is that you use whatever technique you're using, you de-excite the nervous system. And when you de-excite something, you create order. And when you create order in your body, then the lifetime of accumulated stresses that we all have in our cells can start to leave the body. right? And so less stress you have in your body, less of that involuntary fight or flight stress reaction, more cognitive function you have for the task at hand, for the right now. Here's maybe a better analogy, is that when most of us are stressed, it's like we're typing on a computer. If you think about your brain as a computer and you're at work typing an email, and then you decide to take a little break. You open up a little Facebook, a little YouTube, a little Hulu, a little Vine, a little Instagram. And let's just say that you had 10 million open windows on your computer. You're like, maybe I should get back to work. And you go back to typing that email and the cursor is 20 spaces behind. And you're like, ugh, stupid computer, can't even type an email. Well, the computer's fine. The computer is plenty capable of typing an email. But if you're using all of the battery and computing power to run all these old irrelevant windows, then that's what makes the cursor behind. So how this applies to meditation is that what we're doing is that we're going in and we're closing down all of those old irrelevant windows, which gives us more battery power, more computing power for the right now. And this is why meditators perform up to 43% higher on performance tests. So that's,
wow.
Yeah.
That is one of the most brilliant ways of explaining the benefits of meditation I have ever heard.
Oh, good.
Also, I just want to point out, how on earth do you speak so articulately? It's like every word fell in the right order. I was just mesmerized by how beautifully you speak. That is an incredible skill, people. Obviously, this thing works.
Thank you. Well, I'm on my 10th year of meditation now, so I think that's helped.
Okay, so you spoke about how meditation helps you hold many things in one awareness so beautifully. What are the other two?
So the other two are the ability to detect subtlety and the ability to detect themes. Now, I know this might not sound very relevant, but it really is, right? So what does subtlety mean? No two things are the same. No two potential jobs, no two potential relationships, no two potential grapefruits at the grocery store. And life is giving us a constant stream of decisions to make. And I'm going to make a pretty tall claim right now. The more you meditate, the less likely you are to make a mistake. Stay with me, okay? Now, what's a mistake? It's a mistake. We took something to be one thing when it was actually something else. So let's imagine that you have this thing over here and it looks like it's A, B, and C. It dresses like it's A, B, and C. It tells you it's A, B, and C. You really, really want it to be A, B, and C. Maybe you even marry A, B, and C and then you're like, oh crap, it's actually D, E, and F. Now the trick is, it was usually always D, E, and F, but if you want something to be A, B, and C bad enough, it's very easy to put on blinders to what is. It's very easy to make ourselves believe something that isn't true if we want it to be true. So there's a beautiful line in an ancient body of knowledge called the Vedas, and this line is, the truth waits for eyes unclouded by longing. The truth waits for eyes unclouded by longing. And I love this so much because we've all been there. We've all wanted the job to be the job so bad that we forgot to read the out clause. We've all wanted the person to be the person so bad that we just ignored the fact that they were mean to their waiter and drinking too much and screaming at their mom. Just me? Okay. We've all wanted that grapefruit to be the grapefruit so bad that we just grabbed a rotten grapefruit and ran out of the grocery store because we were in a hurry. And so the way that meditation makes you less likely to make a mistake is because it's basically giving you access to your fulfillment, to your bliss in the only place that they reside, which is inside of you. Now, every spiritual text has been saying this since the beginning of time. What you seek is in you. This is not an Emily Fletcher concept. This is just a concept. And it's beautiful to understand that as an intellectual idea, but it is much, much more powerful to be able to experience that every day, twice a day. And that is what meditation gives you. You're flooding your brain with dopamine and serotonin, which are bliss chemicals, which feel amazing. And it's actually giving you access to this fulfillment internally. And the byproduct of that is that when you come out of the meditation, you've wiped some of that longing away from your lens of perception, which allows you to see the subtle differences in things, which in turn makes you less likely to make a mistake.
Again, so unnaturally beautifully said. I don't know how you do this. I don't get the grapefruit thing. You said we've all stolen a grapefruit and run out of a store. Is that a New York thing?
No, I didn't say we all stole it. I'm just saying it's like an example
You said,
of a
grab a grapefruit and run out of the store. You got me there. Okay, let's go on to the third idea. So that was subtlety.
Yes, the ability to detect subtlety. And then the third attribute of higher states of consciousness, or the third way that people tend to get better at life when they start meditating, is the ability to detect themes. right? So what's a theme? It's a pattern. And nature's working in patterns all the time. And the trick is most of us are experts when it comes to other people's patterns. You know, we can all tell like how our brother needs to change his behavior, or our mom, or our roommate, or our boyfriend. You know, it's like if my boyfriend would just go to therapy, then I could be happy. But the trick is other people's themes and patterns aren't up to you. The only thing we can ever do is clean our own house. And the way that meditation helps with this is that as you go into your body and as you start eradicating the stress from the nervous system, it allows you to pull that lens back so you start to be able to see the whole forest instead of just one stressy tree in front of your face. And this sort of frees you up to put your time and your attention on the creative, constructive themes and patterns in your life and take it away from the destructive themes and patterns. And I would argue that your time and your attention are the two most valuable things you have to give. So you want to take care that you're putting your attention on the themes that you want to grow in your life and not watering the weeds. You know, we want to take care that we're watering the flowers, not watering the weeds.
That's beautiful. Can you repeat the three again?
Sure. So the three attributes of higher states of consciousness, or the three ways that meditators tend to get better at life, is the ability to hold many things in one awareness, a simultaneity of consciousness with effortless and elegance, the ability to detect subtlety, which in turn makes you less likely to make a mistake because you're seeing things for what they actually are. And the third is the ability to detect themes so that you can put your time and attention on the creative themes in your life and take it away from the destructive ones.
Amazing, amazing. I've never heard a meditation instructor explain things that fluidly before. So let's go on to the next question. So Emily, you've got this great exercise called the dinner party guest. I would love for you to share that with our audience.
Sure. So you should have gotten a workbook in preparation for the webinar, and if you did, you'll find the exercise in there. If you didn't, you can simply use a piece of paper and pen. But I actually want you to write down 3 people who stress you out the most. I want you to think about 3 people in your life that you find incredibly stressful. It doesn't mean you don't love them. It doesn't mean you're going to break up with them. Just 3 people that stress you out. And I don't recommend writing down their name just in case they see this. You can write a code word or something. And, you know, take a moment, think about it. We'll give you a moment. But just 3 people that stress you out. You have them? It's probably the first 3 that came to mind. And now what I want you to do is next to the code word, I want you to write down the top 2 attributes about each person. So let's say it's your friend Stephanie, and the top 2 attributes of Stephanie. She's always late, or she drinks too much, or she never has any money, or just whatever the thing is about Stephanie, whatever stresses you out. And then your second person, and just write down the top 2 attributes about them. You don't have to think too much about it. Probably the first thing that's coming to you is the best thing. And then the third person, just writing down, if you were to describe this person in 2 words, what 2 adjectives would you use to describe them? Really good. Now here's my hypothesis, is that the thing that these 3 people have in common is that in some way they're not self-sufficient. In some way they're a little needy. Either, you know, they're always late, or they never have any money, or they're always sick, or they're always complaining, or there's just something about them that is not self-sufficient. They're actually asking you to adapt to them because they haven't been able to get their proverbial together. Now, let's have a little bit of fun, and I want you to think about 3 people that you would love to invite to a dinner party. If you're throwing a dinner party tonight, what 3 guests would be your first 3 calls? 3 people who you love being around, who make you feel so present, so happy, so adored. And you can write down these names if you want. They'd probably love to sneak up on this journal. And now same exercise. Beside each of their name, I want you to write down the top 2 attributes of this person. So let's say it's your mom, right? And what do you love about your mom? Top 2 attributes. And the second and third person, if you had to describe them in 2 words, what would you say? Now, my hypothesis here is that what these 3 people have in common is that they are self-sufficient in some way, that they've found tools that allow them to be present, that allow them to be kind, that allow them to be generous with their time and attention. You know, the people that make you feel like you're the only person in the world, that just give you 100% of their energy and attention when they're talking to you. It feels great to be around, and it actually makes you more valuable as a human. And so now that you've done that exercise and you've seen the three common elements of our three stressy guests, and then the through line and the similar attributes of our three invited party guests, now I want you to stop and take a moment and just get really honest with yourself and ask yourself, if someone was doing this exercise and my name was on the list, which side of the list would I be on?
Oh.
Would I be on the stressy side, or would I be on the self-sufficient side? Now, the reason why I want you to get really honest about this is because if we go back to the original question, the original thing that we spoke about, where most of us think that we're too busy to meditate, I would argue that if this story is still happening in your mind, that this might be actually very selfish. Right? We think, well, I'm too busy because I need to take care of my kids, I need to take care of my job, I need to take care of my family. But if you are running on empty, and if you don't have a means by which to fill yourself up from the source, then chances are what you're giving to the people around you is stress instead of bliss and fulfillment. And so I would actually argue that meditation is the least selfish thing that we can do. It can feel selfish to take that time for ourselves, but the byproduct of that is more generosity, more creativity, more presence, which actually everyone else wants to be around. It makes them feel so much better about themselves.
That was a really insightful exercise. You mentioned something there. You said filling yourself up from the source. Tell us what that means.
Sure. So I like to think about meditation as a way to fill up your tank of gas, right? It's like you get to plug into this inexhaustible source of bliss and fulfillment and energy and knowledge. And, a lot of us, we get very attached to our left brain, to our ego, to our small self, to control, to our illusion of control. But what you do when you meditate is that as you start to take your right brain to the gym, you start to tap into what I like to think of as like a supercomputer, right? The piece of us that has access to more knowledge than just our limited left brain individuality. And actually, when you're giving yourself this deep, deep rest, it's like you're filling yourself up from the source of energy. And like you're tapping into the source of knowledge, and you're filling yourself up from the source of fulfillment. And so if you are a martyr and you love being a martyr, definitely this is not the style of meditation for you, because I think you can only be a martyr if you're dealing with limited resources. And once you start meditating, once you start de-exciting the nervous system and really filling yourself up from the source, you see that there are no limited resources, that the more love you give, the more love you receive. The more generous you are, the more things come to you. The more wisdom you give out, the more wisdom you receive. And that, P.S., is my way to tell if something is really valuable or not.
Right.
The more you give of it, do you get more of it back?
One of the things, I should share this here because it's worth knowing, but one of the things I've started doing as a CEO is whenever I interview someone, I ask them, do you meditate? And people who do not meditate score less points in that interview. And the reason for that is because I've simply found that people who meditate, it gives them such an edge, not just at their work, but they are less stressed out. They are more compassionate, they are kinder, they tend to be better with other people. Now, this is not saying that if you don't meditate, you are not any of those, but I've just found that when I'm interviewing someone, I don't get to get their entire life story, but I found that whether or not they meditate is a highly good predictor, and it has a high correlation with their success at work and with life. And if they're the kind of people I'd want to have attend my dinner party.
Beautiful. I love that.
So all of these things you're saying, is this just stuff you notice, or are your students noticing it too?
It's definitely not just me. I've had the amazing opportunity to teach 4,200 people to meditate so far, which I'm incredibly grateful for, because I feel like the more I teach, the more I learn. And I see these patterns happening again and again. Selfishly, why I teach meditation is that every day I get to wake up to emails from people saying, my insomnia is gone, my panic attacks are gone, my anxiety attacks are gone, I was able to get off my meds, my IBS is gone, my skin is better. And so selfishly, this is why I do what I do, is that I get to hear all these stories from people. But some stories of note, actually it was a crazy thing that just happened last week. I had a woman who was blind in her left eye, and she said that during the meditation she started actually seeing visuals in her left eye that had never happened before. I had a man with Parkinson's once who had very pronounced tremors, and the first meditation his tremors stopped. I've had people who've had insomnia for 10 years be able to sleep on the first night of the meditation course. But what I love more and more is that people are starting to come to meditation really as a productivity tool. That they're not waiting until they're in a Mayday situation. They're not waiting until they're in some crisis mode before they adopt a practice. And I think it's largely because so many CEOs and high performers are outing themselves as meditators, and because neuroscience is starting to catch up with what these Indian dudes have been saying for 6,000 years. And now we can actually quantify what's happening in the brain and body. So I feel like, even if you don't meditate, you can't write it off as just nonsense anymore. But people are coming and they're noticing a big change in their productivity. I also taught a woman named Sadie Lincoln, who's the founder of a company called Bar 3, and she is a fitness company, and she has 150 different studios around the United States. And she said that meditation has allowed her to be a better boss, a better CEO, and a better mother. And so this is what I love hearing the most, is that people are just starting to see it as this way to be the most amazing version of themselves.
Amazing, amazing, beautiful stories. And thank you for crediting Indian dudes.
You're welcome. Thank you.
So you mentioned something a while earlier. You said filling yourself up from the source. What do you mean by that?
So what I mean by filling yourself up from the source is that you're basically, every time you meditate, I feel like you are increasing your reservoirs of something that I call adaptation energy. Now, what's adaptation energy? It's basically your ability to handle a change of expectation. It's your ability to handle a demand. So the artist formerly known as stress, I would call high demand. It's really easy to get into this habit of like, oh, my life is so stressful, and my job is so stressful, and my mother-in-law is so stressful. But actually that puts you in the victim seat, right? That's as if those things are happening to you, as if you didn't choose to have your job, as if you didn't know that your boyfriend had a mother when you started dating him. And so what meditation does is that it allows you to fill yourself up from the source of adaptation energy so you can handle things more elegantly. So let's put this into a real life example. Let's say that you wake up one morning and you oversleep your alarm by about 10 minutes, right? Little tiny demand, little tiny change of expectation burns up a little bit of adaptation energy. And then you get on the highway to go to work, and your GPS said there's no traffic. You get on the road, it's a parking lot. So much traffic. So now you're 30 minutes late, and you pop into the coffee shop really quickly because now you're going to be late, so you want to really amp it up. And the barista says, listen, we're out of coffee, but here, take this chamomile tea on the house. You're like, I don't want your stupid chamomile tea. Change of expectation. Burns up some adaptation energy. You get to work, and your boss says, hey, Emily, can I see you for a second? And you're like, sure, no problem. Listen, thank you for everything. You've been great. We're going to have to let you go. And you're like, this is the first time I've ever been late. Why are you firing me? So you call your boyfriend and you say, babe, I just got let go from my job. Do you think you could maybe get dinner tonight? I'm going to need a little extra support. And he says, about 20 minutes later, he texts you back and says, listen, thank you for everything. I'm going to have to let you go. And you're like, did you just break up with me via text message? Huge change of expectation. Burns up a lot of adaptation energy. So let's say you get home after the worst day of all time, and you pour yourself a glass of water, or maybe something a little bit stronger, and there's a little condensation on the glass, and it slips out of your hand, and it breaks on the kitchen floor. Now guess what you're going to do? You're going to launch involuntarily into a fight or flight stress reaction. You're going to start crying. You're going to start yelling at the glass. You're going to punch the wall. You're going to run away from this broken glass. Now it's a $2 glass you can replace tomorrow at the store. Doesn't matter how big or small the demand is. If you are out of adaptation energy, then your body's going to launch into that fight or flight stress reaction, whether you want to or not, whether you've read The Power of Now or not. Now, what meditation does for you is that it allows you to fill up from the source. You fill up your reservoirs with adaptation energy. Now, does it take away the demands? No. But it allows you to adapt to them. It allows you to flow with the inevitable demands that life are going to hand you more elegantly.
Wow, that is such a beautiful, powerful idea, and I love how you explained that. Adaptation energy, people, make a note. So Emily, before we go on to the next question, I have to ask you this because I think our audience will really benefit from the answer. We were talking and you mentioned about how your students are having such incredible results with their sleep. Share that.
So I love it when people get to cure their insomnia because, as you know, I had really terrible insomnia before I started meditating. And so actually when people take the course and if they ever have those body data monitoring bracelets, I always encourage them to track their sleep pre-meditation and post-meditation. And what happens is that most people pre-meditation, the pattern that I see is that their sleep goes light, medium, deep, wake up for 18 minutes, light, medium, deep, wake up for 18 minutes, light, medium, wake up. And that usually takes them about 8 or 9 hours, and they wake up and they still feel exhausted. And then the patterns that I see after meditation is that their sleep goes light, medium, deep for 6 hours, medium, light, wake up. So they've actually shaved a few hours off of the sleep that they need, but they wake up and they feel refreshed. They feel energized. Now, the reason why meditation allows you to A, cure insomnia, and B, sometimes shave hours off of the sleep that you need is because before you have a meditation practice, sleep is the most restful form of rest that most of us have, right? So the body has to use your sleep as a time for stress release. That's actually what insomnia is. You lie down, you give your body a little rest, your brain wants to thank you for that rest, and it thanks you by releasing some stresses, which happens in the form of thoughts. So then you're having all these thoughts, and then it's 6 in the morning and you haven't gotten a wink of sleep. Now, when you insert a meditation practice into your life, then your body can actually use the meditation as a time for stress release, so it can start to use the sleep as a time for sleep. So this is why meditators report less insomnia and deeper, more refreshing sleep.
Wow. So Emily, our final question. I know you, and I love how you bring fun into everything you do. Why is it so important to you to make meditation fun?
Well, because I feel like if something isn't fun, then you're not going to want to do it. And I think we have this idea about meditation that has to be really serious and really hard and really complicated. But actually, it can be incredibly simple and incredibly enjoyable. And I would actually argue that the point of life is the expansion of happiness. And so if we're not having fun when we're learning, if we're not having fun when we're doing it, then what's the point? And to me, it's, the more simple something is, actually the more powerful. I think sometimes in the West we confuse simplicity for weakness, but I actually think the more simple something can be, the more powerful it can be. And I think the more fun that you have when you're learning meditation, the more likely you are to do it. Also, selfishly, I just like to use my lifetime of performance training now, but now I get to use it to help others.
So Emily, at this point, let's go on to that exercise you were going to take our audience through.
It would be my pleasure. So I'm really excited to share these tools with you. They're some of my favorite. And we're going to start by using the breath to just come in, settle in, de-excite the nervous system. Then we'll move through a 5-sensory experience and into something I call the love bomb, which is something you learn in part 1 of the course. And then at the end, I'm going to actually walk you through a pep talk. And you can use this in preparation for any important activity that you have coming up, anything where you really want to perform at the top of your game. Now, I chose these 2 elements to lead you through because they really are illustrative of how the course works. The first half of the course is all about allowing you to be good at meditation, and the second half is all about getting good at life. So to begin, I'd love for you to have a seat with your back supported and your head free. So just anywhere you feel comfortable. You could be on a couch, on a chair, just back supported, head free. And go ahead and close the eyes. And we'll start with something I call 2x breath. So we're simply inhaling through the nose for 2 and exhaling through the mouth for 4. Really good. So just settling into the chair, inhaling through the nose for 2 and exhaling through your mouth for 4. We'll do this a few times. Inhaling for 2 and exhaling for 4. Letting these be big and delicious inhales and exhales, noticing that your body softens as you exhale. And finally, biggest inhale you've taken all day. And as you exhale, just allowing your body to melt and soften into the chair, into the couch, softening your face, softening your jaw. Giving yourself full permission to be right here, right now. And now from this place, I'm going to walk you through something I call come to your senses. We're going to walk through all 5 senses. So begin by gently bringing your awareness to your sense of hearing. What's the most prevalent sound you can detect right now? It might simply be the sound of my voice, or maybe there's a fan on in the room where you are. And we're not judging anything, we're not trying to push anything away. We're actually pulling the lens of our awareness back and including all of our senses and really including all of the sounds in your awareness right now. Listening for the pronounced and the subtle. Really good. And on your next breath, gently bringing your awareness to your sense of touch. So what's the most prevalent tactile sensation happening for you right now? For most of us, that'll be our bums in the chair, or maybe your feet on the ground, or maybe your heart is racing, or you have a headache. Again, we're not judging anything. We're not trying to change it. We're just gently waking up our sense of touch. Maybe even imagining that all the hairs on your arm are like little antennae, becoming very attuned to the subtle, tactile sensations. Can you even feel the breath as it comes in and out of the nose? Really good. And keeping the eyes closed, gently bring your awareness to your sense of sight. So even with the eyes closed, there's still some sort of a sight happening. And it might simply be blackness. Or maybe you look beyond the blackness and maybe you can see colors in your mind's eye, or light streaming through your eyelids. Just really giving yourself permission to see whatever it is that you're seeing. Beautiful. And on your next breath, gently bringing your awareness to your sense of taste. What's the most prevalent taste happening for you right now? Is your mouth acidic or dry? Really good. And on the next breath, taking a big, delicious inhale and really smell what you're smelling. It's the most prevalent smell you can detect right now. Beautiful. And now that you've woken up all 5 of your senses, we're going to start to stack them on top of each other and play with a simultaneity of consciousness. So noticing, can you hear what you're hearing? Feel what you're feeling, see what you're seeing, taste what you're tasting, and smell what you're smelling all at the same time. Giving yourself permission to be so deliciously human, so present in your body. And one final time, waking up your sense of hearing, your sense of touch, your sense of sight, your sense of taste, and your sense of smell. Beautiful. And from this space of expanded awareness and intense presence, I want you to imagine someone that you love very much. I want you to imagine someone that you love very much sitting about 2 feet in front of you. Really see their face, see their hair. What are they wearing? Are they happy? Are they sad? And ideally, this is someone that you love very much. And if you can't think of a human that you love, maybe think of your dog or your cat or even your favorite dish. Just something that inspires the feeling of love inside of you. And on your next inhale, I want you to breathe into that sensation of love in your body. And I want you to imagine supercharging every single cell in your body with the sensation of love. Really good. And as you exhale, I want you to imagine sending that out to this person that you love very much, almost blasting them with love so that you're supercharging every cell in their body with this feeling of love. Love really is the most powerful antidote to fear. And on your next breath, I want you to breathe in this sensation of love into your body, supercharging every cell in your body with this sensation. And as you exhale, I want you to imagine sending that out to the entire room. Just filling the room that you're in with this beautiful wave and this current of love. Some people like to imagine this as a white light or a golden light, but whatever feels charming to you. Really good. And on your next inhale, breathing in this sensation, supercharging your own body with love. And as you exhale, imagine sending this out to the entire city. Every person, place, and thing in the city where you live. All your friends, all your enemies, your boss, your coworkers. Just blasting them with love. And if you feel like you're losing that sensation, simply come back to the person who you love. Your significant other, your family member, your baby, your dog, and just see them across from you And notice how that changes you. Notice how that softens your face. Notice how that changes your heart. And breathing in that sensation into your body, supercharging yourself with this, and then sending that out to the entire planet Earth. Just blasting the whole planet with as much love as you can possibly muster. Really good. And on your next breath, letting this be a delicious inhale, supercharging every single cell in your body. And as you exhale, imagine sending this love out into the entire universe. Just blasting the whole universe with as much love as you can possibly create. And know that as you're sending this sensation out, it's absolutely coming back to you. Because there really is only one thing, and we're all it. So just imagine sending this love out to as far as your mind can conceive, beyond the solar system, beyond the galaxy, beyond the clusters of galaxies, and out into the entire universe, to the entirety of all that is. And reminding yourself that you actually are a part of the universe, and the universe is a part of you. Universe, one song. And allowing yourself to surrender into the sense of connectedness and support. Almost imagining that you're one wave on a giant ocean of consciousness. You are one wave on this giant ocean of energy. And that just for a moment, as you send this love out to the whole universe, you remind yourself that you're one part of a greater whole. And allow yourself to receive all of that love that's coming back to you from the universe. And letting that fill you up from the source, letting that supercharge your body so that you can take that with you into your life, into your job, into your family. Really good. And now from this place of connectedness and having supercharged your whole body with the sensation of love, I want you to imagine that you're going into some situation that's important to you. We're going to start to take this meditation off the mat and into life. Because again, we meditate to get good at life, not to get good at meditation. So imagine that you're just about to walk on stage, or you're just about to give a presentation to your board, or you're about to propose to someone, or you want to be more present for your kids. Just anything that is important to you that you want to show up at the top of your game. And now imagine that you're right before that. You're in the wings, you're about to open the door. And I'm going to give you a little pep talk. So just noticing whatever feelings come up. For most of us, it's a little bit of anxiety or nervousness or what if or speculation. And you can simply come back to that sensation of love or come back to the breath and just receive the words that I'm going to give you. Just allow yourself to receive them as true. Because here's what I know for sure. You are meant for greatness. This situation is important to you, and you might be feeling some nervousness or anxiety because you care a lot about what you do. You want to show up as the most amazing version of you. So give yourself full permission to feel everything that you're feeling. If you're nervous, be nervous. If you're sad, be sad. If your heart is racing, let it race. We don't want to push against the feelings because they'll only push back harder. So we want to take a moment to accept what is. Let it talk to you. And usually, if we simply listen to the body, it will say whatever it needs to say, and then that sensation will dissipate. Now, my guess is that this situation, this opportunity that you care about, wouldn't have even shown up if you hadn't been moving through a lifetime of work and dedication and creativity. So take a moment to acknowledge your success. Take a moment to celebrate all of your successes, every win that you've had that's brought you to this situation that you care so much about. We can't build on top of success we don't acknowledge. So just taking a moment to celebrate all of your successes that have led to this big opportunity. And now I want you to imagine that you have a magic wand and you could wave it and this situation could go any way that you want. The proposal, she says yes. The board says yes. You're confident, you're easy, you're funny, you're charming. And I want you to just play this movie in your mind of whatever the situation is. Really play it out, but play it out best case scenario. They laugh at your jokes, you look amazing, the deal closes. And just letting whatever comes up in your imagination, there's no right or wrong way to do this, you're just letting your imagination have a little bit of fun. And now imagine that you're leaving the room, you're leaving the stage, you're putting your kid to bed, and just noticing the feeling that's happening inside of you when you feel very proud of and excited of what you brought to the table. When you feel like you've done your best, when you've done everything that you can so that you can really let it go, so that you can surrender to nature. The peace that comes with that, the serenity that comes with that. And taking a moment to give yourself a big internal high five, both for taking the time to walk through this situation mentally, and for even doing this webinar, for sticking with us and for investing in yourself, taking a moment to acknowledge the success of you investing this time in this practice right here, right now. And taking a big, delicious inhale, breathing some life into your hands, into your feet, and exhaling, letting go of anything that isn't serving you. One more time, big, delicious inhale, breathing some life into your body, bringing your awareness into the room. And in your own time, whenever you're ready, you can start to slowly, gently open the eyes. Good job.
Emily, thank you. That was one of the most beautifully guided meditations I've ever heard an author do, live on camera with no script. So did you guys like that? And hopefully you're awake now and pay attention to how you feel. Odds are you feel different, you feel lighter, you feel more connected. And let me ask you this, wasn't that fun? Didn't that feel so different from, say, meditations that you've tried to do yourself, or meditations or other meditations out there? There's a certain beautiful vibrancy to how Emily guides these meditations. So I hope you enjoyed this masterclass. And what I want you to know is that what you experienced was just a tiny taste. Hopefully you got out of this masterclass the idea of how there are two types of meditation. There's monastic meditation, then there's meditation for the modern world. And you got out of this masterclass the idea of just how you can apply meditation to every aspect of your life. As you'll see soon, you can also apply meditation to things such as your sex life, your productivity. All of that we're going to talk about soon. But what many of you don't know is that how we've been trained to understand meditation has been so outdated and so obsolete for so many decades that this is why so many of us fall for the busyness paradox. We claim we're too busy to meditate, not realizing just how much not meditating takes away from our lives. So Emily and I are working on a special project. We set an intention to build the most beautiful, sophisticated meditation app in the world today. And it's built in a new platform called Quest. Quest is a new learning model that we've introduced to Mindvalley. See, our traditional learning model was simple. You buy an online course, you study it on your own, but Quest are different. When we launched Quest, we found that the number of students who were having transformative experiences, who were completing the courses, increased by almost 200 to 300%.
Yeah.
But let me tell you how Quest works. A Quest is a cross between a live seminar, so it's like going for a seminar with Emily, combined with a virtual experience. You see, Quest are a journey that thousands of students start together on a specific date. And this new Quest with Emily is a how many day journey?
33.
It's a 33-day journey. You couldn't have just picked an even number like 30 or 60. Emily has to be different. So it's a 33-day journey where over 33 days, and the start date is below, you go through a series of ideas, insights, and trainings on meditation. And in a moment, Emily's going to tell you what she's going to be covering. And it's no more than 20 minutes a day, so it's easily accessible. When you enroll in this Quest, what happens is we wait for thousands of people to come in, and the Quest is going to start on the date below this video. It's going to start on that particular date because everybody who enrolls starts together. So Emily's going to be guiding you every single day, Less than 20 minutes is all the time you need to put in for 33 days. And with every day, you're going to get better and better and better with applying meditation to your life. But you're also going to see remarkable effects in all aspects of your life, from sleep to productivity to your ability to focus and all the other amazing benefits that Emily mentioned. But there is something really unique about Quest, and this is why it has such a high completion rate and why our students love it. You see, a Quest is a community experience. As you go through these lessons every single day, you also are interacting in a community with thousands of students at the same time. And you'll find that our community here at Mindvalley is so supportive. You have a question, someone from Emily's team or the Mindvalley team or a fellow student will help you out. Maybe you have an insight, maybe you have an observation, maybe you want to share. You get to participate too. So this is such a beautiful new system, and it was invented at Mindvalley. We really were one of the first companies to pioneer this form of learning that I'm excited to get you on the program. So before I bring on Emily to share the exact curriculum, just want to add one thing. When you enroll in this Quest, your entire program is going to be available for you on Mindvalley Home with your regular login and password. But you also get to download a companion app on either your Android smartphone or your iPhone. If you do not have a smartphone, no problem. You can access it on the web too. The app is basically designed to help you along your quest, to keep you motivated, allow you to consume everything on the go, even if you don't have Wi-Fi access. So you can even be doing this, say, on a plane, and to allow you to communicate with the community on your mobile device. So we've thought about everything. Really, our mission in Mindvalley this year is to combine legendary teachers, and you can see how brilliant she is, with great technology, phenomenal curriculum design to create courses that are world-class in every aspect. So we're going through this to create the #1 meditation course on smartphones today. And Emily, give us an idea of how this course unfolds.
Yeah, so I'm so excited about it because we've spent, my 10 years of meditation training, your lifetime of meditation training, and all of these different technological tools that are available to us, and really created a course that's super digestible, super accessible. And the thing I love most about it is that there's actually 2 parts to this training. Part 1 is all about getting good at meditation. This is going to give you a solid morning practice that you're going to be able to do without me, without guidance. Eventually, you're going to be totally self-sufficient to where you just wake up, brush your teeth, and meditate. And that's going to be like priming your brain, priming your body for an amazing day, right? And then part 2 of the course is all about using meditation off of the cushion, right? How do we get good at life? And this is real life applied meditation. So I'm going to give you breathing techniques, visualization techniques, power poses, all for specific life situations. So let's say you're in overwhelm at work, or let's say you're having insomnia, or if you want to have better sex, or you want to be more productive. There's lots of ways that we can start to utilize these tools in real life. And each day is going to solve a different problem. And I recommend that you move through the training and really utilize them all in order, but then you can kind of cherry pick your favorite. And because of the way the Quest app works, you don't have to go home and log into your computer. You're just going to have me on your phone. So if you get into one of these real life situations, you can just hit play and you can excuse yourself, go to the bathroom, or listen to it on the bus, on a plane, in the parking lot before you have a meeting, and really go into each real life situation charged up and ready to rock.
That's amazing. And it's only 20 minutes a day. And we designed this because we know 20 minutes is just about easy for anyone, right? Because commutes take 20 minutes. You can play this on your smartphone, in your car, and using CarPlay, have it just stream across Bluetooth. I forget, you don't want to meditate while in your car. So when we come to the meditation bit, you want to make sure you're parked.
Yes,
but
good
it is
point.
So easy to go through this entire program.
And some of the days are even less than 20 minutes. Some days it's 5 minutes, 10 minutes. One of the things I love about this training is that we're all going to be moving through it together, and we're going to have ways to interact so I can answer your questions in real time and really provide as much support as possible. So day 1 through 17 of this course is part 1, and this is all about getting good at meditation. This is all about giving you self-sufficient tools so that you're going to have a morning practice that you look forward to, so that you just wake up, brush your teeth, and meditate. And eventually, once you move through that training, you're going to have this practice to take with you for life. And then day 18 through 33 is part 2 of the course. And this is all about getting better at life. This is about taking these tools that we've learned and starting to apply them to real life situations. So anything from wanting better sleep, to better sex, to more productivity, to being more kind, or even finding your purpose, or being more conscious about what you consume, or having tools to handle overwhelm at work, or handling travel better. This is everything that we're going to be handling in part 2. And I'm really excited about this because I feel like it's the first of its kind. Most meditation courses either give you a practice to do on your own, or it's guided visualizations for a certain part of life. And this course actually gives you both. I think you get the best of both worlds, and I'm so excited about it.
Yeah, and one of our philosophies when we designed this program is that there's a lot of meditation out there, and I know because I've had family members go for these, friends go for these, and it is so painful and difficult, and they don't really teach you how to apply it in life. You're meant to meditate, apparently some shift is meant to occur, and you're meant to go forth in the world changed. But after a couple of weeks, people don't feel that change. And then they wonder if what all that practice they did really matters. And then they stop practicing. Now, if you notice with this course, remember what I said earlier about the 1,400 meditation studies? This course actually shows you how to start reaping those benefits in every dimension of your life. Every single day, you are up-leveling in one specific instance of your life every single day. Can you give us a couple of examples, just really quickly, of some of the areas where people are going to feel a massive renewal in their abilities?
I would say creativity, productivity, presence, and sleep are some big ones. And the other thing that's really great about this is that we actually teach people how to chart their success, because most people are judging their meditations based on misinformation, and they're judging the meditation based on how many or few thoughts they're having.
Right.
So actually on day 1, we walk you through a whole exercise where you assess different areas of your life, and you're going to do that again on day 33. So you actually will have the proof in your own life, in your own performance, and your own experience.
Susan Blackwell, who was an actor in Birdman, and Birdman, of course, was that movie that was nominated for an Academy Award for Best Picture starring Michael Keaton. Now, Susan said this: life-changing. I just acted in a film and the director asked me to improvise with my super famous scene partner. Before meditation, I would have been anxious and panicked, but thanks to my meditation practice, I was calm and it was easy and fun. Meg Wolf, who's another actress, she was in American Horror Story, said, you owe it to yourself, to the people you love, to the random people you interact with each day to try Emily's meditation. Isn't that incredible? Because what we found and what science has found is that people who meditate have high degrees of compassion, love, and kindness. Jordan Brown, who's the head of visioneering for X Prize, said this: she makes sure that her students leave with lots of tricks and tools to nurture their meditation practice, and she provides ongoing support. She's truly the best. That's certainly something you're going to find with this program we are bringing to you with Emily. The ongoing support, the tools, the community, the way everything fits together to make meditation a daily practice. Frank Tran, the actor, said, people have said I've calmed down a lot and I look 5 years younger. Again, this is one of the surest benefits you get. People start telling you you look younger, and people start telling you that you seem so calm and so at ease. Or as Daniel Rabbani, the filmmaker, said, when I started meditating, I stopped spinning my wheels and started making 6 figures while doing way, way, way less. Daniel, of course, studied with Emily. What happens is because you're so calm, you tend to be in the flow, and thus you get more done in less time. It's one of the biggest benefits of meditation that people don't realize, that 20 minutes a day or so that you spend meditating can add hours to your day. And the other thing that happens is you find your energy goes up. As Susan Chan, who's managing director of Macquarie Capital, said, my energy levels were immediately elevated and I need much less sleep. My focus at work has become razor sharp. Which is why many people like Ryan Weiss said, Emily's approach to meditation is the most effective form of meditation I've practiced. It is also simple and achievable. The combo of the two has me hooked. So as you can see, this doesn't take away time from you. It adds time to your life. So that's a great point, Emily. Now, for those of you listening, check this out. Simone de la Rue, who's the founder of Body by Simone, basically brought Emily's teachings to her entire company. And she said, Ziva has helped us fill up our own tank of energy so we can give our clients even more. And do you notice something about all of these case studies that we are sharing with you? Everyone here is a high performer, acting in a Academy-nominated Best Picture film, or running their own companies, or working in elite industries, or running legendary organizations like X Prize. They are all learning from Emily. So basically, if you've ever tried meditation and it's been there's been a resistance for you, this is the solution. And if you are doing meditation and you like the practice, but you want to get to the next level, you're about to be trained by one of the most remarkable meditation teachers out there. As I have mentioned before, Emily Fletcher is the person whom we bring at our festivals, A-Fest, to teach our audience, our invite-only audience. And you know how many people, hundreds of people, write to us asking if they could lead meditations at A-Fest. But we choose Emily, and we bring Emily back for multiple years in a row because she's that good. You were also the meditation teacher at Summit Series, that massive 5,000 Silicon Valley types on a boat last year. And she was the one selected to teach this group. You've also taught at Harvard, at Google, so you're really learning from someone I consider one of the world's best. And I'm saying this with respect and gratitude because I was a meditation teacher for 5 years. And I wish I could sometimes teach as well as this woman teaches. So combining Emily's forte as a teacher, as an expert, as a curriculum designer, and then Mindvalley's strengths in terms of technology and design and crafting a really beautiful course, I really invite you to enroll in this quest. It is going to be one of the most remarkable things you take part in. And Emily, we'll answer a couple of common questions in a bit, but I just want to let you guys know that all the information is below, and you need to know two important things. Firstly, like everything else on Mindvalley, we allow you to try this out, so you do not even have to make up your mind right now. You can enroll in this, try it out, and if it isn't right for you, anytime in 30 days, you can get a full unconditional refund. Mindvalley's customer support has won awards for being one of the best customer support teams in the world. We were awarded by Nice Reply. The second thing to know is that as a thank you for investing this time listening to this masterclass, because it's not easy to just carve out this time. We're all busy, and dedicate this to your self-growth. As a thank you for doing that, we've created a special unlock price. This is an additional bonus to what you'll get anywhere else. So do not close this page. By ordering on this page, you get an additional discount on this program that you will not see anywhere else on Mindvalley Academy. So let's start with some common questions that you guys might be having as you're scrolling down this page and checking out the information. The first question is, are there any special bonuses? Emily?
There are. So glad you asked. So we actually created a special guided meditation for travel, for kids, and for breakups, because we find that these are things that are often very taxing and stressful for people.
Yeah, especially if you're traveling and you break up while you have your kids with you.
Yes, if that's your situation, this is definitely the program for you.
And so you can learn about the special bonuses below. Now, the second question, and I'll answer this, is a common question. When you enroll, what is there to do until the start date? Because remember, all of us are going to start together, right? That's part of the magic of this program. By starting together, we're in it as one community. You can interact with me and everyone else, all other thousands of students, and Emily in the community. So the answer is this. Between the time you enroll, so when you enroll today, and the time the program starts, the start date is below, you get what we call warm-up content. Warm-up content is basically videos by Emily that prep you for the quest. So you want to watch this warm-up content, study this content before the quest actually starts. All of us will be studying this in our own time. So on day one of the quest, we are all prepared and we are all coming in with the same amount of knowledge and preparation and experience to really get the most out of this. So the next question is, I've tried every form of meditation out there. I've really tried. I fall asleep or I can't focus. It just doesn't seem to work for me.
So I feel like most people fall into one of two camps. They either hate the word meditation, they don't even want to try it because they're allergic to it, and they think it means incense and caftans and finger symbols. Or there's the other camp of people that feel like they're already an expert and they already know it and they've already tried all the things. Or they've tried it and they've hated it. That's actually three camps, but just go with it. So this is why I really love this course. And one of the things you learn in this is called the M word technique. And I like the word the M word because it takes the word meditation just out of it. So if you're scared of that word meditation, then fine. This is going to allow you to go into this with beginner's mind, allow you to go into this with an attitude of curiosity. And if you are already an expert, if you have a different style of meditation, again, I invite you to go into this with beginner's mind and allowing this practice to be what it is for you. Some of the things might be basic, but having been a former dancer, I find that there's so much power in going back to the basics. Going back to the fundamentals makes your performance so much better.
I was teaching meditation in New York and London for about 5 years. I wrote a I wrote the #1 Amazon best-selling book on meditation. And I'm still taking this journey. And the reason is this, right? Imagine you are really good at tennis. You are one of the best tennis players in the world. And you have an opportunity to be coached by yet another tennis coach. But he has a couple of tricks in there that maybe you've never learned before. You'd still take that opportunity. And so even though I've studied so many forms of meditation, to be coached by Emily is such an honor. I know I'm going to learn something new because meditation, I mean, it isn't tic-tac-toe. I couldn't think of a better example. It's vast, it's complex. There are so many different styles and ideas, and there's always more to learn. There's always more depth to it. There's always ways to get better. So either way, whether you're a beginner or you're an expert, you're going to have an incredible time on this meditation quest. And thank you for tuning in. All the information is below. Click enroll and join us in our community. We'll get started with the warm-up content, and then I cannot wait to see you on day 1.
Bye, friends.
Take care.
I can't believe that Emily has gotten me to meditate, because it's been half a decade of reading about meditation and talking about meditation. You know, I'm super excited to now have this for the rest of my life. It's awesome. What has dawned in the scientific literature over the past couple of years is the idea that chronic inflammation is really a major driver, if not an initiator, of many of the chronic diseases that we see plaguing modern society, from obesity to type 2 diabetes to even brain diseases like Alzheimer's and Parkinson's. Chronic inflammation is at the core of all of those problems. It's sort of like the unifying theory of chronic modern disease. And what's amazing about inflammation is that the research has shown that by meditating, you can actually reduce biomarkers for this chronic inflammation in your body. So you can actually fight, you can reduce your risk for these diseases by meditating. I'm Max Lugavere, and I've been meditating for 4 days.
I was one of those people who always thought I didn't have time to meditate. Who has that kind of time, period, right? It is such an excuse. I mean, one, time is a construct and we control it. So if you want to take 20 minutes twice a day out of your day to do something that is so beneficial for you, that's within your power to do. To think that you can't do it just means that you won't. The busier you are, the more beneficial this kind of meditation is. This meditation doesn't ask you to take yourself out of society, out of civilization, and go live in a cave. This is meditation you can do on the subway, in a car, on your own, with other people, with noise, with real life happening around you. It allows me to check in with myself because I'm a little bit more perceptive when it comes to my thoughts and feelings, because my time in meditation gives me that distance from them.
I was diagnosed with breast cancer in November, and I started meditating in January. I had my surgery, and then I took the meditation course in January because I knew that I had a long year ahead of me. So I had a very aggressive form of breast cancer, and I had very harsh treatments. So I had 6 months worth of chemo. Everyone's first reaction is like, oh my God, I'm gonna die. I mean, and you just stand there so present, like you've never been present before. And the first thing you say is, oh my God, I don't wanna die. Through the meditation, through what I found in meditation, what happened is that changed for me my attitude. It really kind of changed everything because I didn't feel like a victim. I felt like I had the power. I had the power within me to create what the experience was going to be for me. Mm-hmm. This was the first time that I noticed the meditation made a difference. So I had to have surgery to put the port in. And I went in and they wheel you back into the recovery room, and they said to my sister came with me, and they said, oh, she's going to be there for like 2 or 3 hours. She can't leave until she, can get up and walk around and is cognizant and all that. So I sort of, in the background somewhere, heard him having that conversation, and I propped myself up and I started with my mantra. And within 40 minutes, I was good to go. And the nurse that was there, he said, I've never seen anybody recover that quickly to be able to put their clothes on and walk out the door. And I got up and I walked and I saw my family and I lived my life, so much so that my girlfriend said to the doctor, "Is the medication working?" Because she's normal. She's just like herself. She doesn't seem, except for a few things, she's great. And my doctor looked at her and she said, "She's bald. Medication is working. Whatever she's doing is working." And she said, "Kathy, what are you doing?" And I said, "I'm meditating." And she said, "Keep doing it." Because it's very rare that I see people like you, totally present, and not, I saw so many people really suffering, struggling. And, you know, I'm fortunate because I didn't struggle. I didn't suffer. I did not suffer. I just was present. I am not the same person I was 10 months ago. I am so different. And in some way, I'm afraid. I'm not sure if people are ready for me.
The world needs you.
Isn't that interesting? It just,
Yeah.
But it's definitely changed me. But I feel so stable. I feel so grounded. I feel such intense gratitude for my illness, because I wouldn't be sitting here with you today. I wouldn't have been driven to the meditation. And if it can do this for me in such an intense state of stress, if I can find that peace with the help of meditation through that, there is no reason that people, the world, can't find that peace in their everyday life with the meditation. Emily is a teacher. Her wisdom is awe-inspiring. It really, the things that she talks about, you just really, it's cause for pause, really. Just very enlightened, but she's gracious and she's loving and she's humble and she makes you feel like the practice is in her, it's you. The wisdom is in her, it's within you. It doesn't feel like teacher-student, it feels like we're sharing the knowledge. And so that makes it less intimidating and makes you really feel part of the practice.